Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress video. So, this is Six of Cups. So, I'm going to, I don't know if I have anything interesting to say. Okay. Cool. So the sixes, I brought them all out to talk about the sixes in general, but we are, as I record this, we are on the last day of Six of Cups. So probably by the time you see this, by the time this is uploaded, we will then be in the Seven of Cups, but just so you know, astrologically speaking. But right now we're in the six. So the sixes in the Rider Tarot are all a hierarchical structure. They are, in the Six of Wands, we have a person who is sitting on a horse above the other townspeople that are celebrating them. This person is famous. This person has achieved something. This person is being recognized. This person is above others. Here we have an older sibling sharing knowledge or gifts or memories, sharing with the younger sibling, right? So this, ostensibly, this person has something to teach this more naive person. Here in the Six of Swords, we have what appears to be someone helping these two people to move on with their lives, to heal from their traumas. And in the Six of Pentacles, we have someone who has a bunch of money that is giving away to people that don't have as much. So there's a hierarchical structure. We also have a hierarchical structure in the Lovers card, because we have the angel up above and then the humans, the lowly humans down below. So I, like many people, one of the main keywords that I think of when I think about the sixes is equilibrium. It is the scales in the process of being balanced. They're not balanced yet. I mean, clearly in all of the minor arcana sixes, we see an imbalanced situation. We see someone with too much money carefully weighing out how much he wants to give to people that don't have enough. Here we see someone that appears to be strong and able-bodied, helping people that aren't to cross to calmer waters. Here we see an older sibling sharing something with a younger one. And here we see someone that is getting more recognition than everyone else. Here it seems a little bit more equal in the Lovers card. So the Lovers card is kind of the relationship between divinity and humanity. It's the namaste. It's recognizing the divine in one another, recognizing that we're all equal. So it's almost like these sixes are representing, the sixes in the minor arcana are representing the way that our society makes us put everything into a hierarchical structure. we give certain people power and take it away from others. We are unfair. We are an unfair society. Everything is really just recognized. We are all actually equal and each one of us has as much divinity within us as another. Which, of course, maybe not of course, but I always say of course as the beginning of every sentence, reminds me of my favorite lover's card. I didn't think about this beforehand, so it'll take me a second to find it. Talk amongst yourselves. It's going to be like the last card, isn't it? Almost. Okay, there it is. The entire point of the composition of this image is that they're both wearing bridal costumes to marry each other and to recognize their devotion to divinity and to the divinity that they recognize in each other. That was the intended symbolism for this lover's card. Let's just set that over here. So I'm making this particular Six of Cups video mostly about the sixes, because that's kind of my starting point for this series as I think about how I feel about the numerology and then go from there. So first of all, I think that seeing the world in this hierarchical structure, the way that these four minor arcana cards are represented, is false. Or not seeing them, I think seeing the world in a hierarchical structure is false. It is the way that our society is organized, but it's not real. You know, like whether or not someone is famous, they are still a human being. We tend to think of people that are famous as concepts. That's the dark side to the Six of Wands. Maybe you've accomplished something. Maybe you're getting recognition for the things that you've done. And it's great. You've wanted that recognition. But the dark side of that is that now that people recognize you, they're not seeing you as a human being anymore. They're seeing you as a concept. Here, this could really just be one member of this family is taking his turn at rowing the boat. Maybe he's just as tired and bedraggled by the circumstances as the other two members of this family are. Maybe it's just his turn. And soon he will be sitting in this spot while this person takes the reins, takes up the stick, the rowing stick, whatever you call that thing. It's not an oar, is it? Because it's just a stick. I don't know. I don't think it's an oar. Because it's one of those, like, it goes to the bottom and you're just pushing against the bottom of the river, right? I don't know. And here, the person with all of the financial resources is not necessarily the happier person. In fact, the person with all the financial resources historically is not the happier person. Things are not as they seem in the sixes. So we typically, when we talk about the Six of Cups, we talk about nostalgia. We talk about childhood. We talk about looking back. This is one of my favorite subjects. I love nostalgia. I really love nostalgia. My favorite year of my life is 1996. Because at that point in my life, I was figuring out who I was. I was starting to dress the way that I still dress. I was listening to the music that I still love. It was the foundation of who I became. And so I think of that year extremely fondly. But also, this is This is a story about what are you passing on? What emotional... So if we take the hierarchical structure out of it and just look at the sixes as what are you passing on? What, now that you are an influence on the world in the Six of Wands, how are you going to use that power? When you are passing your emotional, sort of the beginning of your emotional being, what is the word I'm looking for? When you start becoming an emotional being, that happens in childhood, right? What are you passing on from your childhood into your children's childhood, into your nieces and nephews' childhood? What are you passing on? What traumas that you're taking with you are you going to pass on to your children? What wealth are you going to be passing on? Because this could be an inheritance card as well. Kind of, yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure I have anything more interesting to say about the sixes. They are depicted in a hierarchical fashion in the Rider Tarot. But I think it's possibly even more interesting when you see a card that isn't like this. When it's more about healing, more about equilibrium. Yeah. I don't know. I think that is as good as I got right now. So I maybe will re-record this someday. Maybe a year from now when we're in Six of Cups in 2023, I'll re-record this. And then this video will be no more. That could happen. I mean, besides just sort of the keyword of seeing the Six of Cups as nostalgia, let's just transition into... So the way that I have been... I feel like I have sort of switched to the other side of... Okay, I've had this YouTube channel since 2014. I've had my Mixtress radio, my weekly radio show, also since 2014. They started around the same time, within a few months of each other. Before that, I had blogs. I had a zine for about 10 years. Did I have a zine for 10 years? The last issue I put out was July 2014, which was the month that I started my Mixtress radio. So Chickweed Zine really became Mixtress radio. It was just, I no longer saw a need to make my zine once I was making the radio show. In any case, I have been sharing my stupid personal thoughts with others in some fashion or another for a really, really long time. I mean, since I was a teenager, you know, I used to have a live journal blog when I was like 17. So I have been sharing my thoughts on the internet for now 23 years. It is only just now that like I have 3.5 thousand subscribers on this YouTube channel. And I'm starting to be a person that people remember details about my life. People that I don't know details about my life because I put them out there. I did it. I put it out there. But people on the internet know details about my life and remember details about my life that I do not know. this is starting to make me feel like I am being viewed as a concept instead of a person. And I'm really uncomfortable with that. Because I am a person. And I don't know how comfortable I am with having any sort of public face, metaphorically. I realize that I'm not that public. You know, it's not like I'm sitting over here like famous or anything. You know, I've never been recognized in person for my YouTube channel or anything like that. But it's starting to feel weird. It's starting to feel like, you know, in the past, like especially like the first 5 years or so that I had my radio show, you know, I didn't have that many people tuning in. I still don't. To my live radio show, I don't have that many people tuning in. But at first I would say some really, really personal stuff on my radio show because it was mostly friends and family members that were listening. And I used to know everybody that was listening. So I knew that I knew when I could feel comfortable saying personal things. You know what I mean? And at this point, as I'm sitting in my closet recording, and I know that this video is going to be seen by potentially hundreds of people. That's very fucking weird to even say that out loud. I'm clamming up. I'm feeling very nervous. I'm feeling like, and obviously it's, or maybe not obviously, it's not everybody. It's not everybody. Tons of y'all, probably most of you that are listening to my words right now do see me as a human being. Even if you don't know me personally, you see me as a human being, you respect my boundaries and my, and what I choose to put out there. I don't know how this relates to Six of Cups, except that I think part of this series for me is going to be about sharing my thoughts, kind of sharing what I'm going through during that particular season. So right now, during Six of Cups season 2022, let's just go ahead and turn the rest of these over because we're not talking about all these sixes. We're talking about Six of Cups right now. So I felt like I was starting to say something important, but I don't know what it was. Oh, I just kind of want to I am starting to get uncomfortable with the type of the vibe that I'm getting from some of the comments that I get on my YouTube channel. Types of comments where people feel entitled to information about my life. I am already sharing a lot of myself with you. And what I choose not to share is my business. And I also am having to learn from my own perspective, just because for my own, I'm learning. I'm in the process of learning that just because someone asks me a direct question doesn't mean I have to answer it. I've spent most of my life, if someone asks me a direct question, I answer it even if I don't want to. So I'm starting to get to that point where if I get a comment asking me a question that for whatever reason, even if my perspective of why they're asking the question is completely wrong and they're not actually being creepy, doesn't matter. If I don't want to answer a question, I'm just not going to answer it. You know, big revolutionary idea, right? But for me, that's where I'm at. I am no longer going to be answering questions about where you can buy the things that I show in my videos. You can Google that shit. I also have I've gotten several questions on my collection videos that I put up this last week of people asking me if I still have particular decks that were not shown in the video. Assume that if I didn't show them in the video, I no longer have them, or they're in my purgatory, or I forgot to mention them, but it's none of your fucking business. I'm showing my collection. I'm showing you a glimpse into my life. Every time I press record, I'm showing you a glimpse into my life. And I'm not great with boundaries. I'm learning boundaries. And as I'm learning boundaries, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with a lot of people. And I'll just be honest, my faith in humanity has been shaken in the last year. And I'm a very optimistic person. So for me to I don't even like to admit that out loud because it sounds dark. And I'll just be real with you. I'm struggling emotionally. Emotionally, I'm struggling right now. And for me, the Six of Cups has been about reclaiming that childhood naivete. It's not really yes, it's about nostalgia, but it's about reclaiming that sort of emotional newness. Like, if we cannot live our lives with the emotional newness, that sort of outlook on life, if we cannot look at the world with wonder, then we're fucked. And I don't want to feel fucked. I want to feel happy. I want to walk down the street with joy. I want to take pleasure in, a gentle breeze flowing through my windows. I want to look at the world with awe and wonder. And sometimes I have to lie to myself in order to look at the world with that. I want to look at the world with rose-colored glasses. I do. And that's my sort of life philosophy of delusional optimism. But it's becoming harder to do that. My history with how people react to me on the internet is similar to everyone's history with how people react to you on the internet, right? People misunderstand you. People try to tell you what to do. I've had people try to tell me how to film my videos. I've had people tell me that my nail polish is wrong. People tell me that my voice sounds like a dying frog. And these are the minority of people, right? The minority of people are the ones that are demanding, the ones that do not see you as a person. They see you as a product. They see you as a concept and a product and a person that's here to serve them. Well, I'm not your fucking geisha. And yeah, or maybe courtesan. Courtesan is the better term because using the word geisha doesn't make sense for me to say as a white person, right? I'm not your fucking courtesan. I'm not here to, I'm not getting paid for this shit. I have a monetized channel, but I get $100 check from YouTube about once or twice a year. That's it. It's not even enough to cover my fucking YouTube premium subscription, which, by the way, it just went up, so I'm not going to get to have it anymore, which is unfortunate because I'm not going to enjoy YouTube as much anymore if I have to have ads and I can't lock my screen whenever I'm listening to a video, which I do a lot when I'm shelving books at the library. I don't know what this is. It's just me gently spiraling emotionally, but I am committed to my outlook on life being rose-colored. and I'm committed to my philosophy of delusional optimism. So I will recover from this moment right now. And I will find a solution that will benefit me. I don't know if that's quitting YouTube. I don't know. I was talking about some of this stuff with my Michael last night, and he said, well, why are you still doing it then? And my knee-jerk reaction was, well, of course I'm going to continue doing it. But then I started thinking about it, and it's a possibility. Because I seem to be too sensitive to, I don't know. I realize I'm taking people's innocuous comments. Like, for example, someone saying to me, do you still have such and such deck? I didn't see it in the video. It's just an innocuous comment on the surface. But to me, it starts taking me down a spiral, because I think to myself, oh my God, they remember what shit I have in my collection from like last year's collection video? Why do they remember that? Why do they care? That's so weird. Like, and then I start to feel exposed, and it's such a weird thing to say. I feel exposed when I'm literally on purpose putting my thoughts out on the internet. And then I am going to be mad whenever people actually remember details about me that I've shared. That's what I've wanted my whole life. That's what I thought I wanted my entire life, was for people to listen to me and give a shit what I had to say. My whole life I've wanted to be heard. And now that I'm being heard, I'm very uncomfortable with it, and I don't know how to deal with it. But the only way that I've made friends as an adult is through this kind of shit. I have found really good friends through putting myself out there in the ways that I've put myself out there, through this YouTube channel, my radio show, my podcast, etc. I've been consistently putting myself out there for 8 years now. And I finally, in the last year, I've made some friends. I've made a solid handful of ride or die babes. Ride or die bitches. And I would not give that up for anything. You know who you are. But there's also been a dark side to that. Not just random commenters, but there have been people that I've gotten close to that didn't turn out to be good for me at all. And there have been people that I was never close to that for some reason, well, one person. Someone that I was never close to that for some reason they thought we were close. Because I don't think they're okay. And I can't say more about that, because that person's probably fucking watching this right now. That I've had to block this person on my Patreon, so block this person from ever becoming my patron again. See, I'm already sharing too much. This is the thing with me, is like, if I could reel it in and not say so many personal things, then I could probably exist on the internet pretty freely. It would probably solve a lot of my issues. But I can't seem to do that. I want to be an authentic person and tell it like it is, and accurately represent my life so that people can see themselves in me if they are like me. But that's not an invitation for someone to, say, for example, show up at my workplace when I told them I didn't want to meet them. You know? Just for example. I am still a person, and I may not be great at setting boundaries, but when I attempt to set them, I do expect them to be respected. And I'd hate for the ultimate reaction to all of this to be that I have to leave the internet. But to be honest, the only days I feel peaceful and sane are when I'm not on the internet. So maybe the internet is really bad for me. Maybe I can't handle it. And that's unfortunate, because even though it is only to have a monetized channel on YouTube, for me personally, only gives me $100 every 8 to 10 months. That ain't nothing for me. Even though that's a very tiny amount, it ain't nothing. It has bought me a few tarot decks for sure. I think I've gotten 3 payouts so far since I monetized my channel. About a year and a half ago. 2 years ago? I don't know. Anyway, I'm feeling real weird and vulnerable and overly emotional this week, and it has to do with I am getting to that point where I feel like I'm on the verge of crossing over into being a jaded person. And I've never been a jaded person. And it's not a fun perspective. I don't want to be a jaded person. And this is what happens to people on YouTube. This is how we lose Jenna Marbles. And I'm not comparing myself to Jenna Marbles at all, first of all. But I'm seeing myself in how I assume she experienced being the YouTube personality that she was right before she left. Right before she chose to leave. I totally understand why she chose to leave. I can't imagine how many people were constantly bombarding her with like feeling entitled to her life and her information. It's not fair. It's not fair to treat a human being like a concept. And I don't want to be treated that way. So what am I doing? So why am I here? It's just a question I'm asking. I'm not making any decisions right now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm putting this out there. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just sitting in my closet right now, recording myself talking for no reason. That's also possible. Anyway, that's 6 of Cups, y'all. I didn't know 6 of Cups was going to be so emotional. I'm ready for the 7, to be honest, because the 7 of Cups has always been a great place for me. Of course, I would have said that about the 6 before this moment. So we'll see. 7 of Cups is from November 11th through the 20th. So it could be a good time. Let's hope. Hopefully I'll be back with talking about 7 of Cups. I don't even know if I just talked about 6 of Cups, but whatever. I talked for 33 minutes. Thanks, guys.